All right, rolling. Thanks, Aaron Brungardt, our producer. This is Ian Evers. This is Soccer Comic Rant. And we're going to get into a bunch of things. Roman Abramovich and the Ukrainian peace negotiators suffer suspected poisoning. So we don't have details, or we kind of do, but we're going to speculate maybe a little bit. But we all know the relevancy of this towards English football, Chelsea, and the war in the Ukraine. And we're also going to talk about Poland's next upcoming match for them to qualify for the World Cup. Will they or won't they qualify? And also Portugal, Ronaldo's last dance is going to play out right before us. Will Portugal beat Macedonia? Canada, the country that Lee is representing right now, they qualified top of the group right so far. We'll find out if they can be caught and pass, but they're definitely qualified for the World Cup. And Lee spent some time in Canada. We got a bunch of other stuff. So if you're listening to All Things Comedy or iTunes or my Omni Studio, thank you. And if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. The sponsor for the podcast is onthevolleyapparel.com. And if you go to onthevolleyapparel.com, they have tanks, hoodies, sweatshirts, and t-shirts with soccer, hip hop logos on the front. And use promo code Comic Rant to get 20% off. You can also purchase some Soccer Comic Rant t-shirts there. And we have some of the usual suspects. Like I said before, Lee, Southampton fan, lived in Canada and coached there and worked there for a minute. Stand-up comic from England, Lee Hudson. What up, fam? You happy?
Yeah, I'm happy for my Canadian friends.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people out there, so I thought I'd rep the maple leaf.
So that's
today.
Nice.
That's a nice retro joint you got on.
Yeah, I've had this for years, but yeah, it's huge for them. So I'm sure we'll get into that in a bit.
All right, cool. And I was about to introduce Neil, but then he left, but then he came back. We have Neil Chakravarty, Chelsea fan, stand-up comic, lives in San Diego. What up, Neil?
I'm all good.
You don't sound it, bro. You sound very good. Apprehensive.
Haven't been slapped, haven't been poisoned. I'm all good.
I know. Jesus. And we have
clean bill of health.
Clean bill of health. I mean, yeah, there's no fingerprints on your side of your face, so you're good. Yeah. And we have Martin Harris, stand-up comic and actor. Seen him in a bunch of movies. He's actually in a movie with Will Smith coming out soon. So
with Chris Rock.
With Chris Rock. Sorry. Sorry. I only identify with the slapper. With Chris Rock.
Movie with Martin's more embarrassing than the slap.
Damn. Damn, son. It's cold-blooded on here.
That joke would deserve slapping.
What should we? So we're soccer fanatics and fans, and we all support our teams. But should we talk about the slap a little bit first? Does anybody have anything they want to get off their chest or say about it? How does this affect us as comics, and what we may or may not be able to say on stage? Like, what's the deal with that?
I find it a bit weird, people acting like it's the first time this has happened. I don't know if you've all seen the Jim Jeffries video from the Comedy Store in Manchester.
Nah, I never seen it.
A few years back. He got punched on stage, properly punched in the jaw. I put a tweet up saying that, like, any comics who are saying, oh, is this going to lead to comedians getting assaulted on stage? I was like, you haven't done a shitty show in a long while. Right. Because I'm sure this happens every weekend, like somewhere in the world.
Yeah, with unknown comics, so nobody cares.
Yeah, but normally there's security to step in as well. Some places, you'd hope. I found that the most bizarre part.
I remember, like, one time when I first started out, first of all, when I first started out, I was terrible. Some people might argue I'm terrible now, but we'll skip that part. So I'm brand new comic. And you could tell this show is going to be rough because I left my house to go to the show at 2 a.m. Like I kept on calling the promoters, and it was like, nah, it's not time to come yet, not time to come yet. So I left my crib at 2 a.m. From Long Island to go to the Bronx. So a show in the Bronx, and not a club, but a bar. And like, I think I remember everybody bombing, and I was bombing too. And I started trying to make fun of some guy that I thought was an easy target. He had like long hair, so I started calling him Jesus, which is all I had in my repertoire at the moment. And Jesus pulled up the side of his shirt and showed me that the handle of his gun tucked in his pants. And then I was like, I can't make fun of Jesus no more. And then I was like, y'all ain't see that Jesus just showed me the handle of his gun? Why does Jesus need a gun in the first place? He's Jesus. And I was just everybody just staring at me like, handle your business. And then I just continue to bomb and then just wrap it up. So, shit happens. It's always been happening. Like Lee said, it's like, that's just comedy.
Yeah, like when I'm thinking about football reference of that brings me the memory of Eric Cantona attacking with a bicycle kick a fan in the front row, right? That would be like a football equivalent, sort of. A bizarre act of.
Well, at least in this case, the guy who got punched was the performer.
Right.
Like.
Yeah, but technically the guy who punched won an Oscar for the best performer of the year. So, and it's arguably, I think, in the top 3 of the all-time list in terms of box office. I think it's top 3 all-time in terms of box office.
It's hard to really find a comparable precedent for this, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can make some links, but it's so outrageous and so unique as a situation. It's hard to get your head around. Yeah, this is the precedent. At least now we have one. So if it happens again, we'll have a reference point. So thank you for that.
There was
which why I think
Zidane in the World Cup final, headbutting Materazzi.
Yeah, that's close. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
finally,
the bigger stage. Yeah.
Yeah, on the World Cup final, but then he was punished. Will Smith was not punished last night.
Which I think the fact that he said, and this is the precedent, I think his line to come back was really great. Like it was pretty much, he had a couple of seconds to think about it. He went, well, this is the greatest night in the history of television, which it will go down as one of the greatest nights for all the wrong reasons, but yeah, it will. It'll be memorable, but yeah. Well, and again, like, I heard a couple of folks saying that, this must have been humiliating for Chris Rock. But I mean, this is a guy who grew up in the New York stand-up comedy scene. Like, I think he'll be fine. Yeah, he'll be fine. He can afford therapy for it. It probably is humiliating. He's also probably not a fighter, like a guy that gets physical a lot. So he wasn't going to do anything. He kept his hands behind his back, even though he knew what could happen. I felt like Chris Rock was like nothing this is not a deadly threat, but something might happen, but I'm not doing anything to instigate this besides the words that I've already said. I mean, he stood his ground. That's, that itself was pretty good from his point of view. Like the way he comes off looking in that entire situation, didn't flinch, didn't put a hand to his face. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would have been worse if you get slapped with a hand trying to block the slap. No, or like just spend the next 5 minutes doing this. Right. Yeah, or if he'd have gone down or something. Yeah. I would expect Will Smith to be able to knock Chris Rock out.
And guys, let's not forget the fact that here in America, ABC immediately muted the whole thing. So we didn't really know until those clips from international television started popping in, and we could see that it's actually more real than what we initially thought. So I think that it was on delay, but also the reactions were on delay, and people started to get the vibe that something real happened later. Eventually, because first it looked, listen, it's an Oscars, there's a lot of sketches going on. They had Wanda Sykes was doing a great job doing those sketches in between, a lot of people probably thought it's another sketch. It's another, two guys know each other for many, many years, and they came up with it just for the shock effect or whatever, and now obviously looks like it was absolutely real, although you never know. But I think it was real. But would I cut my head for it? No.
Well, you cut your head for it. What do you mean?
No, would I put bet my life on it that it was 100% real? No, I wouldn't.
I don't see what anybody has got to gain though, like by staging something like this, because these are two of the biggest. Neither of these guys need any more publicity. I think ABC's already sold out their ad spots for the year. So
yeah, Will Smith went full Kanye yesterday.
Yeah,
and the weird thing is, like, as a Black comic or just a person, it's that two of the most respectable, unlikely guys for this situation to occur with, it happened with them. And then I don't like how, like, if anybody's gonna be like, yeah, you can't take Black people anywhere, like, hey man, like, we didn't invent violence. Violence is all over us and around us, so that's not an excuse not to invite Black people anywhere after this. Like,
there's a war going on right now, and that's been started by white folk. So
exactly. Thank you. I didn't want to say that, but so there's history books full of wars with non-Black people. Black people have never started a world war. I'd take a slap, and not react to it as actually a good thing. So
like, I would have, the fact that the situation did happen, it would have been interesting to see if it wasn't at the end of the show. Like, I would have liked to see if Chris Rock had the mic for another 45 minutes, what would have happened?
For what?
If Chris Rock did have the mic for another 45 minutes, I would have liked to see what happened, because he would have probably had something to say. It was near the end of the show. It's kind of, he didn't really have a chance to come back after that.
He wanted to get everything just over with after the slap.
Yeah.
He didn't want to go any further. He's just like, all right.
Guys, it's funny. I listened to the podcast that I always listen to, the Bill Simmons podcast. He had Jimmy Kimmel on his podcast last night after the Oscars, and Jimmy Kimmel hosted the Oscars when they announced the wrong winner, right? So he started the podcast saying to Jimmy Kimmel, how you feel like a guy who hosted the second most ridiculous Oscars of all time, because now the thing between Bill and Chris, obviously that will be probably the biggest scandal in the history of the Oscars, and the thing with Moonlight and La La Land will be the second biggest scandal of it.
It's also funny that both incidents involved Black people.
Well, partially. Moonlight, they didn't do anything wrong, really.
I know. It's a Black movie, and Black movies are really nominated. I know what La La Land is. Yeah, La La Land is not a Black movie. Yeah, no shit.
Maybe that shows, like,
Steve Harvey to the equations, calling the wrong winner for Miss of the World.
I didn't even understand what you said.
Oh, he's the Black guy, Steve Harvey. He called the wrong. Remember that?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, so exactly. You're making my point even more.
Maybe that just shows, like, how mainstream Black artists are getting, that now you're dominating even the controversies.
Yeah.
It's been interesting, like, seeing online, like, the range of jokes. Like, there's been some real hacky shit, and then there's been some really funny stuff as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of refraining from making any jokes now. Like, I got a good one, but I haven't even tweeted it.
I think my favorite one, I can't remember who did it, but someone said that Chris Rock was lucky that all of Jada's other boyfriends didn't jump in too.
Yeah, that's funny. I have something like that.
You could see, like, he wanted to say something, but then he kind of pulled himself back. He went, I could. Chris Rock. He started that sentence with, I could. All right, never mind. I felt he had something in him.
No, he's like, oh, wow. And then he's like, he the first thing he said was kind of funny. He said, oh, wow. Will Smith just smacked
the shit out of me.
Yeah. And he's like, all right, dude, I'm gonna keep her name out my mouth. Yeah. So on to even more bizarre shit. So the bizarre thing is that Roman Abramovich is a part of the peace talks to end the war between Ukraine and his country, Russia. And him and the negotiators are, I guess, I don't know if they're on the border or if they're in Turkey, but wherever they're negotiating, Roman Abramovich fell sick, his skin started peeling, and there's pain in his eyes. I think he's better now, but
it was at the start of the month on the Ukraine-Belarus border.
Mm.
It was at the 3rd and 4th of March when they had the negotiations.
Oh, so it's earlier this. So this is an old thing that they're telling us about now.
Yeah.
Well, there were always rumors of him being part of the negotiating team, but it had only come from Abramovich's spokesman before. So, people thought it was probably just another, PR lie that was being floated around. But now, like, independent journalists have kind of confirmed it. Zelensky himself has gone on record saying that that Abramovich is part of those who are helping with the negotiations.
And didn't Zelensky say something positive about Abramovich? What did he say? He shouldn't be sanctioned. The U.S. shouldn't sanction him.
Apparently, that's what he told Biden over a phone call, because the U.S. was getting ready to sanction Abramovich.
Right.
And then, but in the interview, he did say, like the interview he gave to Russian media this weekend, he said that Abramovich and Zelensky.
He gave an interview to Russian media.
Russian media, trying to directly speak to the Russian people. He said that Abramovich and a few others have offered to pay for the rebuilding of Ukraine infrastructure wise, and also to fund the army.
If you let us control your oil.
Yeah, I missed that part.
No, I didn't say that, but yeah. I mean, I can't. Anybody have any ideas why you might be doing this, Martin, as a Polish person, close to?
Well, close geographically, because I'm here for the last 14 years. But I mean, listen, it's interesting. He's also he's got Israeli passport, and Israel is one of the countries that declared willingness to also participate in building some sort of a bridge between those two countries, leading negotiations or whatever. I think Abramovich is trying to save his ass, but maybe maybe there will be some sort of conclusion out of it. I don't know. It's very, very, very strange, because he's very connected to Putin, and he grew pretty much. He was hand in hand with Putin for the last 30 years, and it contributed into him, becoming as rich as he is. But things in politics happen. Things between billionaires happen, and the last month was definitely not the best one in Abramovich's life. And maybe he's trying to kind of save his legacy a little bit, or save his fortune, save his future, by making like the late twist. Because the one advantage he has over some other oligarchs is that he's got this Israeli passport, and he does have a support from Israel, and that could be crucial. Because definitely UK didn't show him any gratitude at all. Like the UK was pretty strong against Abramovich from the start, and pressed for very, very, very high charges against him.
Also, Abramovich does have Ukrainian heritage, and he has deep roots in the community there. So it and he and Zelensky have been, Zelensky is Jewish too. So they've both been patrons of a lot of common causes in the past. So
yeah, because
it kind of makes sense for him to not, I mean, even from a pure businessman point of view, the war isn't helping any of these guys.
Because Neil, you're 100% right, and I'll tell you, a friend of mine made an emotional post. He's a Russian actor. We did a show together that's coming out in 2 months. I can't say what show is it, yet, but he made a very emotional post. Like, he was crying, saying we were learning from the same books at school. We were sitting next to each other in classes. You know, we're all friends.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. You know, like, Ukrainian and Russian people, before the war, a lot of them were friends. A lot of them had the same upbringing. You know, it's a war created by a dictator. It's a war created by a crazy person. You know, by a corrupted politician, but it's not a war of Russians against Ukrainians as regular people. You know, so this is a tragedy also for Russians in that sense. Because really, you know, like in the Soviet Union, they did grow up together, and it's a lot of those people were close to each other up until that happened.
Abramovich's favorite player was Shevchenko, wasn't it? Which is why he tried so hard constantly to get him at Chelsea.
I mean, Shevchenko, it's not just his favorite player. They're very close as friends. Like at Porto, when Chelsea won the Champions League earlier last year, Abramovich was sitting next to Shevchenko watching. Shevchenko has since, he's obviously been very vocal during this crisis. And I think late or sometime last week, he gave an interview where he kind of, hinted that, things over this issue, he has had a falling out with Abramovich on this. And he hopes that, people like Abramovich can help the situation, because they have been he was saying more of a broad sense that Ukrainians and Russians have been friends for so long, but I don't know after this if we can ever go back to being friends.
Hopefully they can and will. We'll see. I'm gonna move on to like World Cup qualifiers, because I don't want to waste Lee's sweat top. You know what I mean? He's wearing it for a reason. And Canada qualified, and at the top of is it CONMEBOL?
CONCACAF.
CONCACAF, yeah. CONMEBOL is South America. They qualified for the World Cup. They're definitely in, no matter what happens on Wednesday. And I think the last time they qualified was like 86.
It was 36 years ago, I think.
36 years ago. Yeah. So, and when they qualified, they scored no goals and got no points, but at least they were in the World Cup. And now they have this English coach who coached Canadians' men and women's team twice to like bronze medals.
He coached the women's team, in the 2015 World Cup and the Olympics as well, I think, after that.
In the Olympics. And now he's running the Canadian men's team. And he came around at the right time, because Canada has a bunch of probably their best crop of players ever. And they qualified also since January without Jonathan Davids. Is it Alphonso Davies. But they got Jonathan. Right. Why are their names so close? Like that's what I need now when my brain is foggy. Like two guys whose names are similar, so I can mess shit up. But they got two guys and a bunch more, like playing in the MLS, playing in Europe, and having success. And they beaten America. Did Canada beat Mexico too?
I think they might have drawn. I can't remember.
Right. So how do you feel about, and how do you think your Canadian friends are feeling now about these results?
Oh, they've been partying. They're overjoyed. Like it's such a huge thing, because like I went out there in 2016 to coach, and the Canadian Football Association were doing a lot of work to improve youth development. They were putting sort of new strategies in place to try and sort of raise the levels of the game and sort of improve the environment for players. And they were very smart about what they did. They hired good people, and they've had that plan in place for a number of years, and it's starting to show now with the quality of the players they're producing. And obviously there's a Canadian league now, which the standard isn't that high now, but at least it gives players somewhere to play. They don't have to leave Canada immediately, kind of thing.
Mhm.
So I think the game is in a really good place there. And I think a World Cup will sort of push it even further into sort of the public's eye, which is good, because I mean, when I was out there, it was still like, it was popular. The participation numbers were huge, but it was still secondary to hockey.
Yeah, I think I just read it's the most participated sport in now. But so good.
Yeah.
I think that's just happened after you left.
Oh no, it was when I was there as well in terms of numbers, but in terms of priorities as a nation, like hockey was still number one, because like we had the club I coached at, we had some kids who played hockey and football to a good level, and hockey took priority for them.
They'll be like, "Hey, man, I know it's the middle of the football game, but I got to go play hockey."
Yeah. And yeah, that was always the priority. But you know, with things shifting now, that might be different out there. So yeah, I'm really pleased for all the people I know who've been working hard out there to bring those levels up. And yeah, it's going to be fun for them to be part of this global sort of football party for once, for the first time in a lot of people's lifetimes out there.
Yeah, could you explain like any specifics that they did to improve their youth football?
It's nothing drastic. It was more taking it away from the sort of old school methodologies that were there, which I think is common in North America in general, whereby sort of people are still focusing on physical development at a young age rather than technical development and things like that. Like there's still certain physical things that need to be done, like physical literacy, so sort of agility and coordination and things, but it's not about just picking the biggest kids and the strongest kids, and then telling them to just bulldoze people. Like it's they wanted to have kids on the ball more and develop that technical ability, which is it's a good thing. But they've been working, like I said, they've been working so hard on it, and it's starting to pay off, which is amazing.
Congrats to Canada. I got Canadian cousins and stuff and family out there. So yeah, Canada's in the World Cup. Martin, will you hate on Canada in the World Cup as much as you hate on the US team in the World Cup?
That the hate comes from love. So
I'm confused.
I actually like Canadian team. I think they're 4 years ahead of the plan, because they really try to build a team for the World Cup. They're gonna be one of the hosts, and all those players will be closer to their prime, including Davis, age-wise. But it's good. It's a good thing to be ahead of the schedule. It's an interesting group. I don't think it's a more talented group than the American team. I think the US team is still the strongest team on paper, much stronger than anybody else. I was surprised that it took it so long for Americans to qualify, and technically they still didn't, but they will. I mean, they're not going to lose to Costa Rica by 7 goals. So let's say the US team did qualify. I still think the US team is much more talented than Canada, and somehow Canada beat them recently. So great for Canada, great. I mean, they have some good players. I think they're very uneven as a team. They have some weak points. I don't think they're ready to really make a lot of noise in this year's World Cup. But if they keep growing, if they keep adding to that talent pool, probably in 4 years they will be tough to beat.
They'll win at least one game in the group.
Well, get some points. They're not going to be in a group with they're going to be in a group with some pretty big teams, So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm going to roll over to the team Martin hates the most, the United men's national soccer team of the United States. So I'm just going to read this thing. It's going to sound terrible. My reading is terrible. The United States men's national team have just one more CONCACAF qualifier to seal their 2022 World Cup fate. On Wednesday, they travel to Costa Rica, right? And as long as they don't lose by 6 goals or more, they're on their way to Qatar. Now, qualifying after this will be easier because the next World Cup in 2026, the US is one of the co-hosts alongside Mexico and Canada. So they're in that, just regardless, which is a danger to me. Like when you don't have to like, let me just ask this question along the way to reading this whole thing. When you're not on the way, when you don't have to qualify, does that make you softer?
Well, I remember when Poland
less sharp?
organized Euro 2012, and they were terrible. They didn't make it out of the group. That was the easiest group at the tournament, and they were heavily criticized. So I think the fact that they were the hosts and they had 4 years to prepare a team and they weren't able to win a single game was probably the biggest, the heaviest and the most discussed loss in the history of Polish football. So I can say that from my own experience that it was, that was a bad day for sure. And I remember I was in Santa Monica in a pub with like 100 Poles, and that was a game against Czech Republic that if we won, we qualified, but we lost it. And so, that wasn't a great day.
If you qualify, what, the next round?
Yeah. And we were in one group with Greece, Russia, and Czech, where there were only 16 teams in the competition. So all the really strong teams, the powerhouses were in the other 3 groups, and the Polish group somehow, had all the worst teams in one group, and yet they finished last in that group.
Well, it sounds like they belonged in that group at that time because they didn't even qualify through that.
Yeah.
You should probably write a book called 100 Poles, because that sounds like a great title. Also, after the 2026 World Cup, the tournament is going to expand to 48 teams. So that means the Comma Bowl Confederation, it's going to be easier to qualify because how many teams are going to, let me see, the tournament on the whole is going to expand to 48 teams, which means it's going to be easier for the US to qualify from the Comma Bowl because how many, I'm trying to find out how many,
is it 3 in CONCACAF plus 1 into a playoff?
I think it's that now. So I'm trying to figure out how much it's going to be when they expand it to 48 teams. I had the number here. I don't see it now. More teams. It just should be easier as approved. CONCACAF will go from 3 guaranteed spots to 6. That's crazy. Meaning there will be twice as many spots available for the US to
meaning
qualify.
Jamaica still won't make it.
Damn.
We'll top 6 right now.
we'll be, we're going to be using more English-based players sooner than we are doing now. So we'll get through. It's kind of hurts too because Sterling was born in Jamaica. And he plays for England, and he's like top class.
Well, we're seeing I think this generation, we're seeing a good trend of African-born players. I mean, African players born in Europe moving back to play for the African countries. So maybe in the 8 years' time, that'll happen with Jamaica too.
Maybe with the extra World Cup spots as well, that'll make players think a bit more about it. So they'll be like, oh, I've got the chance to go to a World Cup if I contribute.
But what happens in 2026? Because let me see.
I think it stays the same as this time.
Because it expands in 2026, and that's when Canada, Mexico, and America are the hosts. So
they might shorten the spots because you can't put everyone in. You can't have like would that basically be everyone from CONCACAF goes in automatically.
They usually shorten it. So you only have 2 in the qualifying, so 4 guaranteed. And
I think.
So what are they going to do?
As well is that like the addition of the Nations League. So now when teams are automatically qualified for a tournament, they've still got some competitive stuff. Like those teams for the next World Cup, they'll still be playing in the Gold Cup and the Nations League. So they'll have plenty of competitive games still.
No, I guess I'm asking a different question. In 2026, right? This is my bad. Let me clear this up. Because Canada, America, and Mexico are going to qualify, and there's usually right now only 3 spots and 1 playoff spot. What's going to happen to all the other teams in the CONCACAF
Oh, by the way, apparently that's a pretty scary picture of Martin right there.
Oh, I can't see it.
All right. So apparently, I was just reading through it, and it says that the FIFA Council it has yet not decided which of the hosts are going to get automatic qualifications. So it's not a guaranteed thing that all 3 hosts are going to get qualification, although you assume that's what's going to eventually happen.
It'll be the first time ever 3 countries have hosted a World Cup, won't it?
Yeah. So
it's almost like you're bribing your way in when you're like, let's split.
I mean, that's the only way we'll see Qatar this year, right? It's going to be the debut at the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the 3 countries to host the World Cup in a division, in a cup, then the other teams are like, so we're not getting in. But how are you going to let a host in the World Cup?
But I guess in CONCACAF it kind of makes sense because these are anyway the 3 best teams right now. So it's not like you're hurting the hierarchy of teams.
Yeah, you're not putting Honduras in there or something.
Yeah, right now because Canada has just emerged, but that's something I didn't really.
Now, if if India ever gets to host a World Cup, then you can complain, cry about it.
I'm not complaining. I think that's what y'all should do.
I'm saying like other countries in Asia can definitely have a complaint against it because that's what happened with the Under-17 World Cup. India got to host it a couple of years back when England won it with that famous Ford and Mount Hudson generation. And the only reason India ever that was the first time India was playing in a world tournament after a very long time.
Yeah, y'all host cricket all the time. Y'all should definitely host some football. So the path is going to be easier. All right. So what else do I want to move on to? So Poland, bro. Let me. You play
Sweden.
And that's Thursday or Wednesday?
No, that's tomorrow. Tomorrow, 11:45 local time.
How you feeling?
Not great. I spoke a lot with a friend of mine, who is in LA right now, Janusz Michalik, expert from ESPN. He's a very good friend of mine. He thinks Poland will win. I think Poland will lose. And here's why. First of all, the whole qualification is just too many blunders, from the Polish Federation side. First, they hire a coach who, the team didn't play very well, but still won 7 games in the qualification and they qualified for Euros, right? They fired him after winning that campaign. They gave it to Paulo Sousa, who went to Euros with only like 2 months of preparation he had. He went to Euros, he lost the Euros. When technically he had 1 draw against Spain, but he lost 2 games, including against Sweden. And he didn't get fired. Then he started the qualification. The qualifications for the World Cup, we weren't very good, to be quite honest with you, but somehow we finished second. And then he announced, Paulo Sousa, on the Christmas day that he wants to leave, that he wants to go and coach Flamengo. Again, turmoil. What they're going to do? They waited 1 month to hire a coach. They had a bunch of candidates, including Shevchenko or Cannavaro, some big names. They went with a coach that was sitting at home doing nothing. So why did they waste 1 month for that? I don't know. So they gave it to a Polish coach, right, who never coached at that level, who I'm personally like, he's a nice guy, but also made some questionable decisions in the past. And now he has the biggest job of his life, and he has only a couple of weeks to prepare for the game against Russia. That game doesn't happen for obvious reasons. So now he has a game against Sweden.
So he won his first game by not playing it at all.
Technically, by not playing it. So technically, we have the 3rd coach since the European qualification. The first got the job done, got fired. The second didn't get the job done, didn't get fired, and fired himself. Then they hired another guy, and he has one game. Technically his first game to either go to the World Cup or not go to the World Cup against a very solid Swedish team that historically always beats Poland almost every single game. The only time Poland beat Sweden was in 1974 in the World Cup quarterfinals when Polish goalkeeper Jan Tomaszewski had the game of his life saving penalty from Stefan Tapper. And that was historically the best Polish team of all time. So I'm not optimistic. Plus, there's another situation. So you see how many things happen, how many bad things happen in the last 2 years. Now I'm going to tell you another bad thing that just happened. So they play a friendly game, and it was the first game under this coach against Scotland. They looked terrible. And they lost 2 strikers due to injuries, Milik and Piątek. So 2 strikers out of 4 being called up to the national team, they lost. And those strikers cannot play against Sweden. Now, the second best Polish striker in the qualification was Swiderski, who at the time played for a Greek team and was transferred to the MLS. He became a designated player for a Charlotte team, the new Charlotte team. And a week ago, the Charlotte team sent the fax to Polish Federation that this guy is injured and cannot come to the Polish national team camp and will be out for 3 weeks. So they didn't call him in for the game against Sweden. And on Saturday, he comes out, he plays an MLS game, he scores 2 goals, he's the best player on the pitch, and everybody's furious in Poland. Like, how the hell? They said he's injured, he cannot play, he cannot come to the Polish national team. And now he's playing for you guys in the MLS, scoring 2 goals. And this was the second best scorer for Poland in the qualification. So you see how many things happen. And of course, they're gonna.
But Gareth failed them.
Of course, Charlotte is in trouble. There will be some sort of official complaint to FIFA about it. They probably will be punished for that. But
it sounds like Daniel Levy is running the Portugal's football.
Worse.
I mean, Poland's football
like
system.
Woodward. Someone like Woodward, I would say.
I would say that if you're relying on an MLS forward, then you're probably not going to beat Sweden.
Nah, man, he scored 5 goals. Ibrahimovic was also playing in the MLS. He's a very good player.
Yeah, and he was so good, he went back to playing for AC Milan.
MLS is not bad. By the way, I want to clarify one thing because a friend of mine
Bill Neville, next manager of Poland, I'm calling it after he gets fired.
No, Frank de Boer.
I also want to clarify because somebody called me out. My friend sent me that I talk about MLS like it's a great league. No, I mean this is the league I can go to the game, to the stadium. So of course I'm going to support the local league. You know, MLS is not a bad league. It's actually growing and it has a lot of interesting players. So it's not something terribly wrong to be playing in MLS anymore. You know, is it the best?
Shaqiri got an assist against England at the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, and he plays in the MLS.
I mean, they still lost, but he got an assist.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you know.
So, yes, I'm not optimistic because, first of all, the team, a couple more things. First of all, the team is not playing well. Second, the coach didn't have time with this team, didn't have time to, implement his ideas. There's only one Lewandowski who can play as a striker right now, and that's it. They have
all you need.
From MLS Buksa, who is I don't think he's good enough for that level and for that type of a game. As a potential second striker, just in case, that's not enough. 2 strikers for that game, not enough. 2 healthy strikers. Now, Matty Cash, that's a huge controversy because he was given Polish passport and immediately he became a starter, which a lot of people question why, because they are the players that played that position before. We're doing fine. And
what are they questioning? The team wasn't playing good.
Because he had 3 games playing for Poland, and in all 3 games he looked bad. And he's still starting for Poland just because he's this guy from Aston Villa, and
he's doing good in the Premier League though. He just scored again the other day.
Yeah, he's been in great form for Villa.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not great for Poland, which might not be his
But nobody's been great for Poland. Not even Lewandowski. You just told me everything you just told me is that Poland has been playing bad. They don't fire coaches and get rid of coaches because the team looks good, So
no, the coach fired himself. The coach left. Paulo Sousa left.
That's a clear sign the team is playing like shit. What coach is like, man, this is going great. I'm out. What is he?
But at the same time, guys, is Lewandowski that good that can win the game by himself? Yes, he is, and he can. So that's the hope.
Well, also is you do also have one of the best centre backs in the Premier League as well. So, there's that.
But all he scores is own goals, so you know that,
right? So, how old is Lewandowski? 33.
but he's a machine. He scores more than 1 goal a game at Bundesliga again. So
if they don't get through, could this be his last World Cup?
Judging by the level of other players, no.
What do you mean? So that it won't be his last World Cup if they don't make it?
Just as fit as Ronaldo, if not fitter. He's in incredible shape. He takes care of himself. He never drinks. He's a fitness guru. His wife is a fitness coach. I mean, if he doesn't decide to quit playing for Poland, he will continue to play for Poland. Why not?
He can attempt to not qualify in 2026 too.
You know, he will be in a very good shape physically, unless knock on the wood, he has some injuries. But he's a very fit guy.
All right. So speaking
definitely, they're missing the guy from Charlotte. That was stupid. That was so dumb. But if they were cheated by the American team, then they have to make sure that Charlotte and management responds to it with FIFA, because if they,
I think the player gets a ban if they get found guilty of that.
Here's what happened, Lee. The Polish head of the communications, he posted on Twitter photo of an email from Charlotte, official email stating that the guy cannot come to the Polish national team camp because of an injury, and then he plays 4 days later and scores 2 goals in the.
It is 4 days later. That's a significant amount of time.
Yeah, but they didn't release him, and basing that, and the letter says he'll be out for at least 2 weeks. So it's very incriminating for sure.
Yeah. No, I feel you. But
and he's an important player. He's a good player. So
good luck tomorrow.
The game that decided that Poland finished second ahead of Albania, he scored the winner. He scored the winning goal against Albania in Albania. So he was kind of a hero, silent hero for Poland.
And he just spent all his hero chips by not coming over to help y'all now.
Yeah.
So we have another, we just mentioned him earlier. You have Portugal versus, is it Macedonia? Or is there
North Macedonia.
North, that's what I thought. I was going to say, was there a pole in front of it? So it's North Macedonia. And North Macedonia, they knocked Italy out of the World Cup. Last minute shot, crazy. I'm laughing at all my Italian friends because this is revenge for me for the Italy beating England in the Euros. So and I'm glad. North Macedonia. How long has North Macedonia been a country? It ain't even the full.
Early 2000s, I think.
Yeah, it's not even the full Macedonia. You couldn't just beat the North part. You stink, Italy, and enjoy your Euros because you won't be participating in this World Cup. What do you guys think about Italy getting knocked out? And what do you think of Portugal's chances, Lee and Neil and Martin, of, can Macedonia do this twice in a row?
I'm saying no. If you looked at the shot maps and the XG from Macedonia versus Italy, it was insane. That's a game that should never have gone the way it did. Italy just could not finish to save their lives, and obviously Macedonia just pulled out a wonder shot at the death to win it. So all credit to them. They got there, but I don't think they're going to get past Portugal. I don't think you can't play like that twice. It's not like they were super organized and they stopped Italy from doing anything. Italy had so many chances. Italy didn't have the quality to put them away. So I think Portugal, they've got a few more sort of quality attacking players than Italy. So I think they'll get the job done.
What do you think, Neil? Any upsets?
I think that they have reached the peak of their footballing journey with that last minute goal. Portugal have a lot of injuries though, but I think they should be fine. Like a game like this, Ronaldo is going to be super motivated to make it work.
Yeah, I just read this thing where he's talking about he wants the fans to welcome North Macedonia to hell, which clearly sounds to me like
he's never been to North Macedonia. It is already hell. I don't know. I've never been there. I'm just talking shit about North Macedonia. But he wants them to turn off the music.
You're just trying to take the side of South Macedonia, aren't you?
Yeah. Of course.
North Macedonia doesn't exist as a nation. It's a region of Greece.
That's my point. It should exist. I want to be annexed. No, but so Greece is South Macedonia.
South Macedonia is a part of. It's a region of Greece.
It's a region of Greece. Yeah. But I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, this will be a crazy match. I feel like Portugal will pull this off. But if they don't, in Portugal,
this is also like these are the last relevant games, right? For World Cup
there's one
qualifying.
more game, Scotland versus Wales. But when are they going to play that? They're not playing that this week. They have to like figure out when to play that for some reason. So I don't know why they're not playing it, but they're not.
Oh, is that because like they got a walkover?
I think wasn't it to do with Ukraine and Russia both being on their side of the bracket and not knowing what's going on with them yet?
Yeah, because there was supposed to be a game between Scotland and Ukraine that didn't get cancelled, like Poland against Russia, where Russia is eliminated. I think they just postponed the game.
Because Scotland played Poland, didn't they, in a friendly with a benefit?
That was a friendly.
Yeah, because they both had games against cancelled teams.
Yeah, but the difference is that Poland went through and Scotland still has to play Ukraine.
Yeah.
So does Ukraine still have a football team?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they wait for the situation being resolved. So, because some of those players I guess they're fighting, right?
They don't have a date yet. So it's going to be the winner of Scotland, Ukraine plays Wales.
So you're going to have a team of players that like just came straight out of a war. Like, let's come on, Scotland. It's pretty crazy.
Not all of them there. You've got like guys playing in other European nations, like Zinchenko's not in the war, right. Mikolenko and Yarmolenko and these guys.
Right.
But I like what Scotland
Zinchenko
did. They offered to take care of all the costs and keep Ukrainian national team in Scotland and pay for everything as long as it's necessary. So that was a nice gesture, I'd say.
Well, it might be a good thing for those countries that they get to delay playing Wales, because Real Madrid fans might have murdered Gareth Bale by then.
Hey, what do you guys think about? As soon as I saw him have this good performance, I was like, he's going to get it back home. What do you think about the Parasite article? Was that from Marca? What Spanish?
Marca.
Yeah. Do you think they went too far, like Bale said? And
is their anger
justified at all? Go ahead.
I mean, he's been injured a fair bit for them, but I mean, I always feel like it's weird when he gets criticised out there, because the guy came up big for them in Champions League finals, and like he's a huge part of their recent history in terms of what he did for them. And I think he never got the credit he deserved when Ronaldo was there, because Ronaldo just did everything like that made the headlines, but Bale was still playing really well. But like, that overhead kick against Liverpool in the Champions League final, if that happened to any other club, he'd be a hero still.
Be a legend for life.
People be talking about that forever if that happened somewhere else. And yeah, it feels like it's powered by a bit of xenophobia.
Xenophobia.
As well. Yeah, Spanish people don't like non-Spanish people. It's a big thing out there.
Okay.
Not on like a racism level, but they just don't. I had a friend who was Scottish who worked as a coach in Spain, and he experienced lots of it, just people treating him differently because even though he spoke perfect Spanish, because he wasn't Spanish, they see you as less than them.
And also apparently Bale did not really take a lot of...
Oh no, Bale didn't help. He didn't help himself.
Yeah, he didn't try doing all those. He stayed the way he was even when he was in England.
Yeah,
he spoke his Spanish on the field.
But also the banner that he pulled out at Wales once, the whole like Wales golf Madrid in that order or whatever it said. Like he's not helped himself, but like I say, I think it's bad to go that hard against a player who has contributed actually quite a lot when you think about it to that club.
I mean, Madrid fans are like so entitled. I sometimes feel like Premier League fans, you know, like my club, Chelsea, we can be very entitled at times, but these guys take it to a different level. And now it's been an accumulation of a couple of years, but I think the first chance against Bale started barely within 6 months of that Champions League, you know, performance against Liverpool. So yeah, it's just gone really bad since. And he's tried his best to get out. I think there were calls for China. He came back to Spurs. We know that was a wrong move. And then, you know, he's just not been able to cut the cord with Real Madrid.
Yeah, I think it's hard when you're on the wages he's on out there as well to try and get someone to take those over properly.
Well, that's a part of it because
I think he was solid at Tottenham. He didn't light the Premier League on fire, but he did fine, and he was okay. He had some really good games.
I mean, he's clearly playing harder and more dedicated to Wales, and he kind of rubs it in to Real Madrid's face. I think this is a problem that both of them created, and you know they wanted him to take a wage cut. But why would you? Because you overspent and handled your books wrong, and because Hazard's not working out. That's not my fault. Hazard's not working out. I won stuff for this club. Hazard didn't. Also, no, you're not taking into account that even for Benzema, you know how much humility it takes to be as good as Benzema and good as Bale for all those years and let Ronaldo shine and not cause an argument just for just to be a team player and then the fans like, oh, you guys ain't doing enough. Like Benzema was getting it a lot too before he proved like this season that, oh, okay, Benzema's like a legit star. Like there were moments in his career earlier when it's like, it's not easy playing with Ronaldo, you know? It's like, you might think, oh, Ronaldo's saving the day, but also people are falling back a little bit and letting him do his thing. And for a football crazy, intelligent fans, I think sometimes the Real Madrid fans let their emotions take over like the rationality of like what exactly is happening on the pitch. Like now you have a guy who's played the backup singer and now for like probably 6 years, and now you want him to play lead singer. He's probably in backup singer mode, and it was fine when
he's checked out. Like he's checked out of everything 100%. To do with Real Madrid. It's been a while.
Yeah, but
is his contract finally up this summer?
Yeah.
Be interesting to see where he goes. Newcastle, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, they got the money.
No, I don't think so. I think he'll either go to MLS or like one of the Arabic countries and just sign a big, huge contract. I would say he would go to like Inter Miami, probably team like that for like 8, 9.
He'll go wherever the best golf courses are.
Yeah, here you go. Or LA, or he comes to LAFC.
San Diego.
They need a star now. Why not?
All right. Let's go to the Premier.
If Insigne can make 17 million a year, then Bale can make 10 in MLS. So.
All right. Let's go to the Premier League a little bit. I just want to look at this thing. So we got this race for top 4. We know 3 teams that are already in the top 4. All right. They got this. Man City, Liverpool, and Chelsea. This weekend, Man City got Burnley, which they should be able to beat. Liverpool has similar competition. Another team that's in the relegation zone, Watford. And then Chelsea has Brentford, who they should be able to handle. But the 3 teams fighting for top 4, which I don't really think they're fighting for top 4. I think this is Arsenal's to lose. But Arsenal has Crystal Palace, Tottenham has Newcastle, and Manchester United has Leicester, and West Ham has Everton, which I feel like all the teams fighting for top 4 for the 4th spot have similar level of competition. Do you guys agree? Because even though Everton is struggling, they're going to be so desperate. They're like that old tiger that's wounded, that's just going to fight for their life. But I think we've asked this question before. Like, who has the toughest game this weekend between these two? Arsenal does against Crystal Palace, against a Patrick Vieira side that, you know, has been doing pretty well. Tottenham against Newcastle, that they've definitely been revived by Eddie Howe and they play with a purpose and drive. Or Manchester United at home against Leicester, who can win and has won 3 of their last 4.
Yeah, I would say Man U probably has the toughest game because the games either go Man U way or they don't. And, you know, it's hard to say which team will turn up. And some of the players play international football, you know, it also will have impact on that, I would say. What's
interesting is I just looked up the Premier League form table, and Leicester, Newcastle, and Crystal Palace are bunched right next to each other together. So they're playing similar teams, essentially, even on form.
Arsenal is the only one that's away, though. All the others are at home.
Right.
Arsenal will beat your ass away or home now. They're just, you know.
Arsenal's got 10 more games
today as well.
Say again?
It's interesting. I read it's all over the news today that they will offer a contract to Rashford because I think his contract expires.
Martin, that's a completely different subject. Let's finish this one.
About Arsenal.
We're talking about the 3. I don't know where that came from. How that came on.
BBC Sports.
What?
BBC Sports.
Did something just happen? Are you answering future questions? Like, what's going on here? Lee, what did you said something and then somebody talked over?
I just said that I've got Arsenal colours on today, so I'm back
you do.
The Spurs. I've got tickets for I'm going to Southampton versus Arsenal on the 16th of April. And I was saying to a friend of mine, I was like, you know, it doesn't matter to me what happens in that game, because if Southampton win, great, my team wins.
Good luck.
If Arsenal wins, it harms Spurs, so I win either way.
Good luck.
Is that at the Emirates?
No, it's a Mary's.
It's a Mary's. Well, Lee, you're probably gonna, because if things go the way it's looking like right now, and Arsenal's a shoe-in for the top 4, you're probably gonna meet the most obnoxious Arsenal fans for half a decade now.
I know they're gonna treat the top 4 like winning the league.
Yeah. Now that they have this belief, it's gonna be bad.
I would take that over Spurs fans getting 4th place.
You're gonna help the process. Stay on the route of helping the Spurs.
The only championship Spurs fans win is the most hated championship. It's like nobody wants y'all.
Championship. I have something to say once we're done with the Premier League.
Say what?
Speaking about championship, once we're done with the Premier League.
Okay.
To say,
I'm impressed by your patience, and that you're gonna wait. So I guess as far as those matches are concerned, I just wanted to point out the observation, and Neil confirmed with the stats that all those 3 teams that the teams have to play, they're on the same amount of form, and so fine. Neil, you want to do the questions now, right quick?
Oh yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Well, before we go to questions, let me say this one thing about the championship. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So that's interesting that apparently George Clooney wants to buy Derby County.
For how much?
Whatever the price is, it's going to be a discount, I guess, because of their problems. But
as I say, when he sees the amount of debt, he might not want to buy them.
How much debt is it?
Tequila company, I think he's doing fine with the tequila company. I think he's encouraged by Ryan Reynolds' investment in Wrexham.
All right.
Clooney and Rooney, that'd be fun. But yeah, or they might get one of those who actually dropped off the list from the Chelsea race.
Yeah,
That'd be a hell of a downgrade, wouldn't it?
they got billions though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't be submitting and not have some billions.
Yeah. All right. Joseph asked thoughts on the US national team. I think we already covered that.
Yeah.
And question for you, Aaron. He asked, has Aaron started watching the Premier League and does he support the team? I know Aaron's daughter does.
Yes. Brungardt, are you there? He might have just left it running.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, his daughter's a Manchester United fan. She's very smart, Joseph. So that's all you need to know.
Stewie Corbin asks, any thoughts on the poisoning with Abramovich? We already covered that. Also, you all need to talk about the Italy game, which we kind of did. I mean, the game basically had 20 seconds worth of stuff to talk about right at the end.
Yeah, just Italy missing a bunch of chances. Macedonia took theirs.
Yeah. And I was talking to the documentary makers, the twins, and like they're in LA, and they were saying that all Italy did was lose that game. The other games, they didn't lose any qualifying games. It was all ties, and then this is the only one that they lost, and that they're out. And they're like, "What are the odds?" But I said, I laughed in their face anyway, and I said, "You're out, so it doesn't matter." So
Jorginho, I think, did he miss one or two penalties?
He missed two penalties that could have won each game that they tied or dropped points. So
not only that, in the game against Macedonia, he started complaining to the referee when a Macedonian player escaped from him and scored a goal. So yeah.
No, he complained to the referee because he couldn't keep up. And we've seen that. Like, if he loses the ball, 9 times out of 10, he's not getting back.
So you're making your point.
That was a terrible look for him, 100%.
All right. As Adam asks, which was the bigger debacle? The US national team missing the last World Cup, or Italy missing this one? I would assume Italy missing this one.
No.
I mean, Italy, a powerhouse in world football, defending European champion, missing out on the World Cup. I think that's a bigger debacle, no?
I'd go with that. It's all personal. It depends on where you're from. You know, if you're from here, why would you care about Italy? And if you're from Italy, right, why would you definitely be more devastated than the US? So if that's a geographical location answer question.
Yeah, Italy are former holders and current Euro holders, like you say. So yeah.
And I read this somewhere that Chileni and Bonucci are probably going to finish their career without having ever played a single World Cup knockout game.
Damn.
In fact, the last knockout game that Italy played was the 2006 World Cup final.
Yep. Because in 2010, they lost to Slovakia, and 2014, they lost to Costa Rica. And they were out in the group stages, and then they didn't qualify 2018, and they didn't qualify 2022.
Yeah.
So the last time they won the World Cup, after the World Cup, they never made it out of the group.
They still had great careers.
Crazy.
Yeah. I don't feel bad for Italy at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of countries around the world would take missing World Cups if they can just win the Euros in between.
Yeah, and having 3 World Cups.
Yeah.
I ate lasagna to celebrate their loss.
Kim Achidru, I'm pretty sure
yeah, pronounce that now, huh? Say that now, huh, Neil?
This seems like one of those game names that's made to trip you up. How do you manage the run between Champions League, Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup semi-final if you're Klopp or Pep? Which competitions do you prioritize, squad rotation, stuff like that? That's a good
feel
question.
like
man.
I feel like Man City is doing exactly what they need to do that. You have a deep ass squad, and you spend the money, and you can rest players, and you could start fresh ones, and you can rotate your squad, and you give yourself a chance to win. The only thing that Man City didn't accomplish in the offseason was getting a forward, and it still mystifies me why they spent 100 million pounds or dollars or euros on Grealish when I feel like they could have got a forward. Now they do have a forward, but they're not getting him until when are they getting that guy from Argentina?
Not for, I think not until next Christmas or something.
Till next, yeah. I thought it was even sooner than that, but yeah.
That's a long ass long.
That's a long ass time. So they're gonna have to roll the dice with what they got. Like I feel like Alex Ferguson had less of a deep squad when they won the treble. So I'm thinking in my head, like, who did they have? And it just feels like when they won the treble, their squad wasn't as deep as Man City is now. So Man City has a good chance. Liverpool has a great chance. They have a lot of depth to their squad. I feel like if I say Chelsea has a lot of depth, that Neil will say no, they don't, because Neil always wants more players in more positions than they have, and he'll always point out some weakness or that the point that somebody is Brazilian, that they're not good enough. So there's always that. But yeah, you just need depth and money.
I feel like, I don't know what's the exact sequence of games, but if it's Champions League, Premier League, Champions League, and then the FA Cup semi-final, as this question suggests, I think you just play your best 11 in the 2 Champions League games and the Premier League game, because they're all 3 are essentially, deciders. You probably don't care if you lose the FA Cup semi-final.
You don't?
Yeah. I think it helps Liverpool that they have more depth now with Diaz there.
Yeah.
It gives them another option to rotate their front line. Jota has really stepped up since he's transferred there as well.
Yeah.
So at least they have options to rotate their key players in and out in that front line. They don't have to solely rely on those players. So I think that's better for them. But it's just whether they can keep everyone fit in other positions as well.
All right.
Yeah. And Albert Ramirez asks us to talk about the.
What was that last name that you tried to just run through real quick?
Albert Ramirez.
Ramirez, all right.
Ramirez, okay.
All right.
He asked us to talk about the Liga MX, the Mexico League.
I know there was a big game the other day, but I don't know that much about it because there's so many leagues I already follow. It's just tough to follow it.
I know that it's got some pretty cool kits in that league. Like the Tigres one, the Atlas one, Pumas one, the Club America one's pretty cool as well. I like the colors in Club America, the yellow with the blue and the red. But yeah, so I'll look at the table right now. Oh shit, Club America. I thought they were like one of the top teams at 15th.
Damn.
I think they have Giovanni Dos Santos, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They do?
Yeah,
I always kind of believed in Giovanni.
There's some big clubs in that division. And there's also a team that I think have one of the most picturesque stadiums in the world as well, which is Monterrey.
Have you gone there?
I haven't. I really want to though. It's let me see if I can find a picture of it to put up. Okay, so this is the Monterrey Stadium.
Oh,
sweet.
That looks like Photoshop, bro.
It's
nice. Like going to watch football in nature. You got a mountain view. It's pretty dope. Yeah, but I don't know enough to talk about. Martin, do you know anything about the and that's the Mexican league, right?
Liga MX is the name.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Tijuana in the top division now as well. You should go to a game.
I know it's right there. That's not that far.
Club Tijuana, 9th in the league.
All right, that's my new Mexican squad. What else you got, Neil?
I think that was the last one.
That was
Yeah.
the last one. Martin, you said, did you say the championship thing, Martin? No, you said, yeah, George Clooney is thinking about buying Derby.
Mm.
All right. So 6:33, it's good time. We should bounce. Any last words from anybody?
Well, I hope Poland wins and gets to the World Cup, but I'm not an optimist. So if that happens, thanks to Lewandowski, I assume. I don't see any other scenario play out. And yeah, I hope Kulusevski will save his scoring boots for the next Tottenham game.
All right. Yeah, you are playing Newcastle. That's not gonna be easy. Lee, thanks for pulling up. Appreciate you. Same thing. Neil, thanks for pulling up. Martin, thank you for pulling up. And thank you, Aaron Brungardt, again, producers. Thank you all for listening and watching, like and subscribe. And yeah, man, we'll be back next week with Premier League games after this international break is about to be over. And check out the games tomorrow. And we love you. Be good. One.
Guys.
Want to take a photo?
Yeah. All right. 3, 2, 1. Got it.
I'm gonna blend in great with this curtain in that photo.
All right.
Cool. Thanks for staying
guys.
around. All right,
Yeah.
thanks, guys.
Thanks.
All right, peace.
Cheers,
All right,
everyone.
Bron.
Bye.
All right, get some sleep.